Aujourd'hui, je suis d'écouter on NS Weekly English News. Members of Myanmar's Arakan Advisory Commission met with national government ministers on Wednesday in Naypyidaw to discuss the security situations in Mongdo Township, where recent violence has forced thousands to flee their home. The Myanmar government formed the Arakan Advisory Commission in late August to examine conflict resolution, humanitarian assistance and development issues in the improvised and recessive western state. The officials from Ministries of Defense and Home Affairs participated in Wednesday's meeting. Former UN Chief Kofi Annan, who leads the 9-member commission, did not attend. The commission members met with us to study the problems and situations in Arakan, said Information Minister Pei Min. The Mongdo attack is new and they want to know about it as well. Arakan is a home of more than 1.1 million stateless Rohingyas, whom many Burmese call Bengalis because they consider them illegal immigrants from neighboring Bangladesh. The Buddhist majority has long subjected the Rohingya to prosecute and attack and denied them basic rights, including citizenship. The minority group, which bore the brunt of anti-Muslim communal violence in 2012 that left more than 200 dead and displaced tens of thousands, were later forced to live in camps, where they remain today. The local authorities in the state of Arakan asked Muslims from the village of Khawarbil to leave their village, and amid of serious concerns about the creation of demographic changes in the state. A reporter of Arakan news agency added that the evacuation came on Saturday, forcing the local population of Muslims in the village of Khawarbil to go out and leave their homes, and threatened to shoot them if they were unable to leave before noon. And Rohingya monitoring activists reported that dozens of residents escaped the village, carrying what they were able to take because of the warning of the demographic changes in the state and the displacement of Muslims, and burning their villages and bringing Buddhist population into Rohingya places or property. Mongdo and Budidong town in Arakan state has witnessed security disruptions couple of weeks, and since then at least 90 people from Rohingya Muslims and displaced thousands of villages, while the burning of homes and properties. Extremists created fake pages of Arakan news agency ANA on Facebook, trying to mislead the observers of the agency for news of the Rohingya minority, which has published reports and bulletins daily on what is the situation and the acts of Buddhist gangs in Arakan state, from genocide, ethnic cleansing, killing and the burning of Rohingya villages and displacement of Rohingya civilians, and that is practiced by the government of Myanmar to impose severe restrictions on Rohingya in their daily lives. The director of Rohingya Media Center, RMC, Mr. Salah Abdul Shakur, said the step taken by these extremists were an cowardly step aimed at concealing the truth to the world, describing them Buddhist extremists. He further added, "We will not let these online gangsters withholding facts and cover up the violation committed against Rohingya with whatever they do," pointing out that there were previous attempts and it targeted the website of his agency in order to penetrate and destroy, and that this step comes in the context of media cover-up policy practice, especially with regard to the Rohingya minority by the country's government. Mr. Shah Hussain, Deputy Director of Rohingya Media Center, said these attempts proved us the strength and effectiveness of what we are doing from media to show the role of extremist Buddhist groups and their crimes against Rohingya. We will continue to march until they return the full rights of Rohingya. The Arakan news agency ANE published its news in several languages and was founded in 2012. They also have reporters inside of Arakan and works to monitor all matters relating to Rohingya minority oppressed in Myanmar. Rohingya activists monitoring new crime to be added to the army's record against Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. An observer said army of Myanmar did not stop after burning, killing and looting, but now demanding Rohingyas to provide their girls or daughters to them. He added the Myanmar troops stormed Rohingya villages remaining in populations and demanded submission of Muslim girls to serve the monster, as reporter added. The observer added that we have cases of Muslim girls were raped and then murdered in bloody ways and found their dead bodies near the camps and barracks. He pointed out the Myanmar former crimes were most under government plans and army implemented them. Around 1 million Rohingya Muslims are in camps and in Arakan state, and after being denied citizenship under a law approved by Myanmar in 1982, as the government considers them illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. while classified by the UN as the most persecuted religious minority in the world. Military clampdown following arrest that has prevented any supplies from reaching Muslim minority group in Arakan state. Food aid deliveries planned for more than 80,000 people in Myanmar's Arakan state have been blocked because of military clampdown in area, according to the UN's World Food Programme (WFP). A predominantly Rohingya area in the north of the state has been closed off after attacks on police posts allegedly by Rohingya fighters over a week ago prompted a surge of government troops, WFP said in a statement on Wednesday. The WFP normally feeds 80 to 85,000 people in the lockdown area, which borders Bangladesh. But aid deliveries have been disrupted and the military has prevented any supplies from getting through. Arakan state is where the country's Muslims Rohingya minority group have allegedly faced systematic persecutions since unrest broke out in 2012. There's a military everywhere and a curfew in place. It's impossible to access any of the areas affected, said Arsen Siank, a WFP partnership officer in Myanmar. The areas affected are also where we normally operate. Activists say a violent crackdown has been unfolding with troops shooting dead Muslim civilians and torching their villages. But the military says it had been fending off violent attacks. And now to our international segment. Britain said on Wednesday it will send fighter jets to Romania next year, and the United States promised troops, tanks and artillery to Poland in NATO's biggest military buildup on Russia's borders since the Cold War. Germany, Canada and other NATO allies also pledged force at a defense ministers' meeting in Brussels. On the same day, two Russian war ships armed with cruise missiles entered the Baltic Sea between Sweden and Denmark, underscoring east-west tensions. In Madrid, the foreign minister said Russia had withdrawn a request to refuel three war ships in Spain's northern African enclave of Ceuta after NATO allies said they could be used to target civilians in Syria. The ships were a part of 8 ship carrier battle group, including Russia's sole aircraft carrier Admiral Kuznetsov, that is expected to join around 10 other Russian vessels already off to Syrian's coast, a diplomat said. NATO's Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said the group's contribution to a new 4,000-strong force in Baltic and Eastern Europe were a measured response to what alliance believes are some 330 Russian troops stationed on Russian western flag near Moscow. White flags flying from their radio antennas, the pickup trucks are laden with refugees and a few precious livestock snaked out of Tubzawa after a day of heavy bombardment drove Islamic State fighters from the village of Mosul's eastern edge. Around 700 people fled the village early on Tuesday, escaping the military operations to recapture Iraq's second biggest city from the jihadists who have controlled it for nearly 2.5 years. In the first 10 days of Mosul campaign, the Iraqi army and the Kurdish Peshmerga fighters backed by the US-led Air Force and troops have made steady gains through often depopulated villages east and south of Mosul. But as they approach the city itself, still home to more than 1 million people, the advancing forces are pushing the front line into villages like Tubzawa, where residents had until this week to stay put. That will make the fighting more difficult and deadly and prompt a senior United Nations official in Iraq to say an exodus from Mosul and a potential humanitarian crisis could be only a few days away. Thank you for watching this show. Hope to see you very soon with more news.